In this lesson, we are going to talk about quants in EWM. Quants, we are going to talk briefly about them because in EWM, quants are not so important as we are not going to be able to see them in storage bins as we can do in SAP EWM. But just for having a look at them and knowing that in WM we talk about them and we can see in the system, we are going to talk briefly. So what is a quant? Quant is a material quantity in a storage bin group based in some criteria. At the end, when we are going to manage quantities of stock in our warehouse, we need some way of grouping them for moving them in groups. For instance, we could manage one unit at each time, but if we are grouping them in boxes, for instance, it's going to be easier just to move the complete box. So this is the same concept. Even if we are not grouping in a handling unit as a box, but we are moving around a quantity of units, for instance 17 units, they are not in a box, but we are moving them together and we are putting them in a storage bin. Internally the system is going to create what is called a quant, and this is going to be the way the system works and how it is going to manage them. So for instance, if we have a storage type where we have different storage bins, when we receive two or more containers of a material, if they have the same characteristics and we can on some way we can customize the system for taking into account some of these characteristics, the system is going to create automatically a quant. So from this point, these characteristics are going to be maintained in this object, in this quant, and when we move them to another place, or if we split it and we get only one of the containers, the system is going to create a different quant, it's going to change this. So this is going to be the way the system is going to manage stocks internally. And I say internally because in SAP WM, in the core WM, we could see the quants in the storage bins, but in EWM we are not going to see them anymore. We could have just a container of a batch, so we could have a different quant. We could have more than two containers and etc. And if you see, we will going to have different quants depending on the storage type, depending on the batch. It's not possible to have in the same quant different batches, as this is a very important characteristic of the quantity that we are managing in stock. So the criteria based on what the quant groups quantity of material is going to be the material number. Of course, we cannot have in the same quant different material numbers, the stock type or category, the special stock assignment, the plant and storage location, and the batch number as we have already seen. So we are going to see what are the main difference with the concept of quant in WM. So in EWM, the quant is not going to contain location information, so it's not going to say where it is stored, and it's not going to contain the document type information. As they cannot see them in the storage bin, they could see them if we have access to check in the tables, and they are going to be stored in the table /SCWM/quant.